What's up, everybody? I am your host, a rabid grandma who loves eating ass, and that is my co-host, another possessed evil old lady who stabs people in the dick. And welcome to the Grindhouse Syndicate, where today we decided to have us a goofy, outright stupid, but fun episode. Because today we are talking about a little, mostly unknown 80s splatter film about two old ladies being possessed by demons and killing off their whole greedy-ass family. Today we are talking about Emmanuel Kervyn's Rabid Grannies from 1988.
Oh boy.
Yes, we have finally arrived at Rabid Grannies. This is a movie that I have wanted to cover since, like, the very beginning of the show. The plot is fucking stupid.
I think it's just the name. Just the name and the overall premise.
The plot is stupid. The acting is not very great. It has terrible overdubbing.
The score is fucking horrendous. Good God.
Yes, the score is bad, but it has awesome practical effects. And who doesn't want to see two old-ass ladies turn into evil, flesh-eating demons?
Yeah.
I am in it. I am here for it.
Yeah, I feel like we haven't really done an episode like this since Thanksgiving, and Thanksgiving is a much better movie.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
It is definitely, I think the difference is Thanksgiving knew it was a funny movie,
Yeah.
and it played off being funny,
Mm-hmm.
whereas this is a serious movie, which and sometimes this makes it more funny. You could almost say that with Jack Frost, but
Yeah.
that tried to be serious.
That was
which
supposed to be
brought it
serious,
down.
and it was the
Yeah.
money. The money brought it down.
Yeah, and then there was Maximum Overdrive, which was very much serious,
But Stephen King was on cocaine.
but it's very funny.
Yeah.
Which, funny story about Maximum Overdrive, I had to drive 5 hours there and back, so 10 hours to go pick up some puppies because my wife decides she wants animals out
From
the
far
ass.
away.
And I ended up in Wilmington, North Carolina, driving over the bridge that is the intro scene the very next day after we recorded that episode.
Yeah, that was wild.
And had no idea that that was going to happen. It was really cool.
Yeah.
But back to what I was saying. Yeah, I think those are the only movies even close to this that we've done. But we do have possibly in November, Thanksgiving, because there's not a lot of Thanksgiving horror out there. We did get blessed with Thanksgiving by Eli Roth, so that saved us last year.
Yeah.
Remember, we had to do Thanksgiving the year before. Well, I now own Poltergeist.
Okay, good,
And
because
Poltergeist might have to happen.
our next option was Thanksgiving 3, which is horrendous. It is a lot of puppets. I don't know why they went the direction they went, but it wasn't good. So yeah, I would much rather do Poltergeist.
God,
for sure.
I wish I would do anything if we could get the same level turkey that we got in Thanksgiving 1.
Yeah. I would say this movie reminded me of if Evil Dead and Ready or Not had a baby.
It was awful.
And it was bad. had a Belgian French baby, and this is what came out. Rabid Grannies.
And in the mask, the Goosebumps mask.
Yeah.
Because that's what the grannies kind of look like.
A little bit, yeah.
They kind of, when she like fully turns into, and her head's too big because of the prosthetic.
Yeah.
That's what these Rabid Grannies look like.
Yeah, so another reason we decided to do this one is I just picked up the Vinegar Syndrome Collector's Edition of this movie, so I figured now was the time, and when we get into the production, I will tell you why that is such a big deal.
Vinegar Syndrome moved on from Rabid Panties to Rabid Grannies.
Yeah, that's a good point. So with that being said, are you ready to dive into Rabid motherfucking Grannies? All right.
Yeah, pretty ready.
Hello, boys and ghouls. If you want to stay up to date on what's going on with the show, talk about, or submit your movie requests, or just say die, then I got good news for you. You can always find us at one of our social media accounts or our official website at Grindhouse.Horror.Pod.com, Facecrook at the Grindhouse Syndicate Horror Podcast, Instascam at grindhousesyndicate.horror.pod, and many gore, which you can always find links for in the show notes as always. And you know what I always say, the morgue, the merrier. So please subscribe or follow for alerts on new episodes. Now, back to the show, kiddies. Frights, camera, action.
And if you really love us and don't want us to be torn apart by two evil old ladies, give us a review. So Rabid Grannies is a 1988 Belgian/French horror comedy film written and directed by Emmanuel Kervyn. It stars Danielle Davin and Annie Marie Fox as two elderly sisters who, after receiving a gift from the ostracized black sheep of the family, get possessed and kill their greedy family members. It was distributed in the U.S. on VHS and DVD by Trauma Entertainment, who I think this is our first Trauma movie, actually, who made severe cuts to the film. It was produced by Stardust Pictures and has no budget or box office info available. Big fucking surprise. Finding information on this movie, very difficult. The original title was The Long Night, which I just want to say, Rabid Grannies, way better title.
Agreed.
100%.
We would not be covering this if it was called The Long Night.
Nope, I don't think that this would be on anybody's radar. So the movie was shot from October 14th of 1988 to January 8th of 1989 on location in the castle of, I'm not going to be able to pronounce this, Ingelmunster. That wasn't bad.
How did this come out in 88, but they filmed it into 89?
Because of
The Rabid Grannies.
the power of the Rabid Grannies went back in time. The Trauma release removes a lot of the gore from the feature film. These scenes are available as bonus features on the DVD. Its Blu-ray debut was March 10th of 2015, presenting the film in a producer's cut with the gore scenes reinstated. Special features are the same as the original Trauma DVD. So this movie was inspired by the early splatter films from the 1980s, specifically Peter Jackson's Bad Taste and Dead Alive. But for some reason, when Trauma put it out, they cut most of the over-the-top gore scenes, including head chomping, bodies slammed into railings, copious amounts of limbs being ripped off, and even a scene of child mutilation. Why?
The best parts of the movie.
It is the best. It's the only reason I fucking want to cover this movie.
The honest to God, the only good part of the movie.
Oh, 100%. But thanks to Vinegar Syndrome, this Blu-ray copy that we have here, the version that we are covering on this episode, has all of that put back into the movie. Apparently, this version was really hard to come by for a really long time, unless you could get your hands on a non-North American copy. That is until now. That is why this collector's edition is so special.
Thank you, Vinegar Syndrome.
Yep. All right, so ratings. Rotten Tom, 36%.
Wow.
Really high.
That did better than House of a Thousand Corpses, and that is absolutely just mind-blowing to me.
Yeah, it did better than, what was the last Dark Castle movie we covered? Because it was lower.
13 Ghosts?
Yeah, it did better than that.
That's
mind-blowing.
ridiculous.
Yeah, that's mind-blowing.
That's not right.
So IMDb gave it a 4.9 out of 10. Letterboxd gave it a 2.8 out of 5. And I just want to point out, for transparency's sake, only 5 people have ever reviewed it on Letterboxd.
Wow.
Yeah, that just shows how unknown this movie is. If you would like to watch it, you can currently find it streaming for free on Tubi, Plex, Roku, Amazon, and with subscriptions on AMC Plus, Sling TV, and YouTube, which is really surprising. It's on that many things. I will warn you, though, the versions that you can watch on Tubi, Plex, all these different is not the version that we're going to actually talk about. Here is going to be the version where all the good shit is cut out.
Yeah. It's gonna suck for anybody listening to this episode that goes to watch the movie and then has to hear us talk about all the really awesome shit that they missed that got taken out.
Well, we are providing a service to the community by saying, this is what you missed. And maybe they'll want to see it so bad that they purchase the Vinegar Syndrome Rabid Grannies.
Yeah. Vinegar Syndrome, where's our money at?
So we start out at a church, I guess, where we meet a priest named Father Percival, and he has been called into the office with the, head priest, I guess. I don't know. And
he's molested the most children.
And he is basically asking for permission to go to this family reunion / birthday party for his very rich aunts. And the head priest is basically like, well, we don't really let people go do stuff like this. But if you can convince your rich aunts when they die to give all of their millions to the church, then we'll let you go.
Yeah. So the church is now trying to steal the family inheritance.
They're hustling.
As if the whole family's not already trying to get their hands on this money. Now the church is trying to steal it.
Now they got the Pope. The Pope is in the mix.
And I don't know about you, but for some reason, this head priest guy just gives me strong Hitler vibes, man. If you go back and watch it, if you cut his mustache down a little bit, he's the shittiest guy who ever existed.
For me, I got vibes of snake oil salesman, used car salesman, just,
like Hitler.
Well, yeah, he sold genocide to everyone.
Yeah, he sold genocide to an entire country.
Yep. So we also find out during this conversation that the rest of Father Percival's brothers and sisters or cousins or whatever are all really terrible people, so the money would be much better off going to the church because the Pope needs new rings and new gowns and new fancy hats.
And candy. And vans.
Yep.
More candy and vans for the church.
So next we jump into the village where these two aunts live, and we find out from some of the villagers that these two ladies are super rich, and according to everyone that lives and works in the village, the rest of the family are big old pieces of shit, and they are only coming to the party because they are all trying to get their money when they die. After that, we start meeting some of these terrible family members as they head towards the aunt's estate. So first we have this guy who looks like a fat-ass version of... The best way I can describe him is if Colonel Sanders and Peter Griffin from Family Guy were combined into one person. I feel like that's pretty accurate, too.
That's pretty accurate. And his pretty hot wife.
His name is Fred, and we discovered that he not only doesn't really like his aunts at all, but he also only wants their money. He has a secret, though, that he hasn't told his aunts, which is he has married a new young wife, which he met in a nightclub. And what a sinful motherfucker.
Well, this also is like his second or third wife. And
is it? I didn't even catch that.
Yeah. And also she's 30 years younger. So
she's way younger.
All those things together is why he's yeah, we're going to lie to them and tell them that you just work for me, I think.
Yeah, and we find out later on in the movie that these two old bitches have a fucking church in their house. So obviously they would be like, oh, you met her in a nightclub. She's full of filthy dicks and sin.
Yeah.
So next we meet another guy named John who has a wife and 2 young daughters, and it seems that all 4 of them in this family are obsessed with the aunt's money. Even the goddamn kids.
They've had it driven in their head.
Yep. So after that, we jump on over to another nephew named Harvey, who obviously owns some kind of weapons manufacturing company. And we see here, right before he leaves for the party, that he is reviewing some new advertisements for some kind of new gun that they are about to put out, which we find out that he is going to be bringing one of these to the party. And he also really, really, really hopes that he sees a third world war.
He's kind of the only one I like out of them. I do
yeah,
like him.
he's like very James Bond through most of this,
Yeah.
which is out of place.
It's also like the only one who really like thinks, like actually thinks, uses their brain at all.
Yeah,
When shit goes down.
he doesn't really mention the money like everyone else does either.
Yeah, I think he's so one thing to mention is they're all very well off already.
Yeah.
Like they've all had inheritance from their parents.
Mhm.
So they're not like broke by any means.
No.
But these they don't ever say the amounts, but apparently these aunts have so much money that it's on another level of rich.
Well, I know Fred owns like a tire making company. What's his name?
Well, this guy we were just talking about, it's like a fucking warlord.
Yeah, he's like, Nicolas Cage and, what's that fucking movie? Lord of War. There's another, the older lady, lesbian chick, she owns a fucking magazine. Like, they all own companies. So next is a young guy named Roger who is in his, like, late 20s, maybe early 30s, and he has apparently already burned through his mother's fortune. And we see that he almost runs over a girl on a bicycle in a sports car, causing her to wreck her bike into a ditch. Big old piece of shit.
Well, that's one of the family members.
Oh,
Yeah.
damn. Which family member is it?
So she's riding her bike and
I must have been high when I watched it.
yeah, she's the olive oil looking one.
Oh.
So she's riding her bike and she's talking about how, she won't get there. She won't be the first to get there and she'll probably be the last. But hopefully they'll appreciate her effort and the work that she put
like
in.
the fucking tortoise and the hare?
Having to ride the bike. Obviously, she doesn't have the money that they all have. And as she's talking about, well, hopefully they'll appreciate the effort that I put into having to ride my bike like an hour and a half. And he runs her off the road on purpose.
Yeah.
And that's why he runs her off the road.
Oh. So another thing that I just realized that they actually mention a little bit later on is as the will sits currently, all of these shitty family members will get equal share. And that is not enough for them.
No.
They're all trying to kind of fuck each other over or outshine each other, hoping that the aunts will give one member of the family everything, which is very greedy. So we also meet an older lady named Erica who is in a lesbian relationship with a much younger woman named Rachel. And she tells Rachel that she is only attending this birthday party in order to get her aunt's money and not to worry about the whole gay relationship thing because she's going to lie and tell her aunts that this younger woman just works for her magazine, which is a fucking stupid lie because why would you bring someone who works with you to a family reunion birthday party thing?
I don't know. I think they used the word like consultant or something. They should have like had her as like, I don't know, something better.
Something
than
else,
that.
yeah.
I don't know what the word I'm looking for here is. Assistant. There we go.
Yeah. The woman who plays Rachel is gorgeous.
Yes.
So turns out this is the only movie she ever did, and she won Miss Belgium, I believe, and she competed the following year, in the Miss Universe pageant.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's pretty fucking hot.
And I personally have a hard time thinking about Rachel, who's super hot, munching on this old, gray, saggy carpet.
Yes.
I don't think this old bitch can even scissor because she'd throw out her hip.
Well, I had that joke in here, but
I
thanks
stole it.
thanks a lot. Yeah. The way I worded it is because Fred has a hard time seeing this too, as we'll get to, and I put it didn't take very long for Rachel to turn away from old Aunt Erica's post-hip replacement scissor,
Oh, yeah. She
which can't be very good.
drops her pretty quick. So basically what we have seen here is pretty much all of these nieces and nephews are really terrible people who are just attending this birthday party in order to get all of their aunt's money when they die. So we finally see most of the family arrive at the big-ass estate where we get a pretty good indication on what kind of people they are, considering they all make the butler named Radu carry all of their bags at once. What the fuck?
They suck.
Oh, and we immediately see that Roger is very interested in Rachel, and he is definitely trying to bring her back over to the other team, which he kind of does because while everyone is getting ready for dinner, he goes to her room and fucks her.
Yeah, I said Fred, I meant Roger. That's a thing in this movie. They don't introduce everybody by name, and because it's overdubbed into English, we don't. There's certain characters in here where we never get their name, and we had to use process of elimination through IMDb to figure out who was who.
There's not even really any IMDb pictures of so you can't even match the actor's face up with their picture to what they are in the movie because there's one actor who their headshot is the cover of this movie.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? So it is now finally time for the big fancy dinner. We see everyone all dressed up in fancy tuxedos and dresses. And we also see here that the two aunts have placed Percival at the children's section because apparently he really likes children.
Big surprise.
I would say if a priest really likes children that much, you should probably look into that.
You know, it wasn't a big thing, priests liking children that much when this movie came out,
Yeah.
so it's almost funny that they did that.
Yeah, none of that had happened yet.
Yeah.
Well, it had happened. It hadn't come out that it happened yet.
Wasn't public.
So while everyone is having dinner, we see that someone has arrived at the front gate. And when the younger maid goes out to answer it, she discovers that it is this very creepy, vampire-looking old lady. And this geriatric goth bitch hands her this box and says that she must give it to the two aunts tonight. The young maid agrees, and the geriatric goth lady disappears into the dark night. So after that, we then cut to the end of the dinner, where we see the two aunts, Victoria and Elizabeth, start to open up their gifts in front of everyone, deciding to save the mystery box for last. We finally get through all of that, and it is now time to see just who sent the mystery gift as Elizabeth reads the letter that was attached. And we find out that it is from a nephew named Christopher that was essentially kicked out of the family and removed from the will because he became the high priest of a Satan-worshiping group. And we also find out that the last straw for the family was when Christopher and his group broke into a cemetery in order to hold a black mass, where he was eventually arrested by the police and given 10 months in prison.
And what's sad is he's not even the worst out of all these people.
No.
From what we know about the characters in this movie, he probably wasn't even the worst out of them.
No, it doesn't sound like it. So we see here that the aunts are very touched by his letter and his gift, but the rest of the family despise him and beg Elizabeth and Victoria to keep him away. Do not forgive him. We don't need any more motherfuckers getting a piece of the pie. So we then see the two aunts rip open the wrapping paper, revealing a very old and small box with carvings all over it. But when they open it, there is nothing to be found inside. But as they blow out their birthday candles, we see a smoke rise from the box, turning their champagne green, to which they immediately drink while we hear thunder rumbling from an oncoming storm. And we now finally get to the point of this stupid fucking movie. This is like
this
a
is
big chunk of
30 minutes into the story. Pretty much everything that wasn't covered was just them throwing each other under the bus at this dinner table and a whole awful intro before we even get to meet the characters. So we're finally getting to the good shit.
Yeah. I almost warned you before I gave you the movie to watch of the beginning is a snooze fest.
Yeah,
100%.
I didn't take much notes.
But it gets going. So we then see the two old ladies staring off into space as everyone cheers for Radu to come out and cut the cake. And the first bit of transformation that we see is Victoria's fingernail falls off, revealing a giant long claw oozing lime green blood, which she uses to slice the cake in half, scaring the shit out of everyone.
Well, to go in more context here, this thing starts growing super long out of the tip of her finger, and it's fucking gross looking. Like, it's awesome.
Then we see Elizabeth's mouth rip open, which is amazing, revealing these giant monster teeth where she then reaches across the table with her newly acquired monster hand, pulling Erica across the table where she immediately bites her fucking head off, splattering blood all over. This is awesome. The effects look awesome. This movie sucks, but this stuff is awesome.
And it was Aunt Erica, who I dislike probably the most so far. She sucks, and I'm so glad that she was the first to die.
I never really noticed a difference between them. I probably mixed their names up throughout this whole entire plot.
Well, it's the old scissor hag.
Oh, Erica.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aunt Erica. She's the first to go.
She is the first to go.
Her fucking hip probably popped out of place and she got dragged across the table and her head bitten off. But yeah, glad she was the first to go. And I was really glad that the second to go was that the cook's daughter, who we've not mentioned yet, but she's a fucking weirdo.
It also looks like Rachel is back on the market. So this, of course, freaks everybody out, causing them to jump up and take off running in different directions. Victoria then jumps up, grabs the young maid, and throws her out of the window, where she lands broken and bloody on top of a car. Which, by the way, the glass, like, sticking out of her skin and shit, looks fucking good. So next we see that John, Rachel, Helen, and Percival are all trapped in a room together, and this starts this big argument between them until Helen finally says, if we want to get through the night, we have to stick together. There's always one person who has to say that in a movie like this. We then jump to another room where we see Harvey, Fred, and somebody's wife.
John's wife?
I could not keep track of the characters' names in this because, like we said earlier, when they first introduce everybody.
This should be Jessica.
Jessica's with she's off with the young guy because she has his keys. I don't know. Anyway, it's somebody's wife. That's all we need to know. Anyway, they're all hiding out together when Fred then says that this is all part of a collective hallucination and he's going to go out and prove that it's not real. But he quickly runs back in after being attacked by a cat, I guess.
It's multiple cats.
It sounds like a bunch of cats, which make zero fucking sense.
They definitely took that audio from a bunch of cats.
I don't understand what this was. I don't understand what this was supposed to be.
I don't know either.
It wasn't the Rabid Grannies. They would have just killed him. I don't know.
Maybe the Rabid Grannies cats went rabid too. We just don't see them in the movie.
Maybe it's just like a deleted scene that we just didn't see. I don't know. This makes no sense. So next we find that Roger and Fred's wife are walking through the dark house, quietly talking about taking Fred's car and going to get help, when suddenly they they start to hear a noise. And as they stand and listen, one of the Rabid Grannies bursts out of a painting on the wall, which she no longer really resembles a granny. She looks more like a gross-ass demon wearing a granny dress, which is pretty funny. Fred's wife then pulls a sword off the wall and cuts the granny's hands off, but as she holds up the two bloody stumps, we start to see two demon hands grow in their place.
Yeah, note to self, do not cut anything off of a rabid granny because it'll grow back worse.
What happens if you cut the demon hands off? What fucking shows up then?
Worse looking demon hands, I guess.
Bigger? Because they seem to get bigger and
Yeah.
bigger. It's just eventually
Get
just have like
worse.
3-foot long hands. So this obviously freaks these two out and they end up running down the hallway. So they end up escaping the house through these like underground tunnels, which eventually leads them out into the driveway. But the Rabid Granny is still in hot pursuit. They then jump in the car and take off, but the evil granny gets inside through the back door, killing Roger instantly, which causes the car to roll to a stop. And as Fred's wife attempts to crawl out, we see her quickly dragged back in. Once back in the car, evil Victoria then torments her for a bit, forcing her to sing Happy Birthday while she cries. After this, she then lets her go, but as we see Fred's wife running down the driveway, Fred's red Jeep slams into the back of her, smashing her whole body in between the Jeep and the iron gate, essentially crushing her to death.
Yeah, so two things about this. The gate, her face being smashed, like implanted into this gate, looked awesome.
Yep.
Looked fucking incredible. I also thought it was like super brutal that she lets her go and then like uses his dead body to drive the Jeep into her. But I will say Fred's wife here, the actress that played her, whatever the fuck her name is, we'll never know.
Nope.
But this is the best performance of the movie, acting-wise. Like, when she breaks down crying in the back and she's, like, crying, having to sing Happy Birthday
Yeah, I
to
will
this
agree.
demon, it's really good.
It's
For
just about the only legitimate acting that we have.
Yeah, I was like, wow, she's actually, this is the
Just a
best
step
it
up.
gets. Yeah.
Just a
this
step
is-
up from the last 30 minutes that we've seen.
Like, she really put her heart into crying it out while she tries to sing Happy.
Yeah, I think that she was putting a lot of effort into it because she already isn't in this movie for a super long time. And she was really trying to get a second movie, I think.
Yeah. She's like, I need this for roles. Which
'Cause-
I gotta say, if I was casting somebody and I had to watch this movie for ideas, that would be the only fucking idea that I got from this whole movie casting wise.
So next we jump on over to Helen's young daughter, Susie, who we saw earlier leave the dinner to go to the bathroom. So she has no idea the grannies have turned into rabid demons. So she ends up walking into the creepiest little kid's room ever, where she spots Elizabeth sitting in a rocking chair. And for some reason, little Susie isn't scared at all, even though this room looks like something from a fucking Freddy Krueger dream or something. Like, it's
Man.
creepy.
I hate to say this about a child, but this kid is ugly as fuck.
What?
Yeah. This little girl, I don't know how she got into acting, but she
Sympathy?
is sympathy. It's a sympathy role.
Make a wish kid.
She looks like she looks a little bit like with her missing front teeth, because she's missing one side of her front teeth. And I get it, kids' teeth fall out and you can't control which ones do. But she looks a little bit like that thing from the Goonies.
Oh my god. I didn't notice that.
Yeah, she ain't got much going for her. I hope she's got a good personality.
We'll just say Rachel's not her mom.
Yeah, definitely not.
So Elizabeth is like, sure, you can play in here if you come over and give me a kiss. So we then jump on over to Helen and Rachel, who have decided to leave the safety of their barricaded room to go look for Susie. But as they come to the grand staircase, Susie's bloody, detached leg comes flying down the steps at them, sending Helen into a frenzy where she runs up the staircase, and what she finds at the top is horrifying because we see little traumatized and most likely dead Susie sitting on the floor with rabid Granny Elizabeth with 2 bloody stumps where her legs used to be, and the family dog is eating her other leg.
Yeah, this shit is fucking gnarly.
This is some fucking Art the Clown shit.
Like, yeah, this is brutal. For one, it's like an 8-year-old kid, and her first leg gets thrown at her mom down the steps, and then you're like, oh God, that's awful, or great, depending on how you look at horror movies. And she gets to the top of the steps, and there her daughter is with both of her legs ripped off. The dog is chewing. Apparently, it's rabid dogs too. It's chewing this kid's leg. And to make it worse, if you look at this ugly ass kid, she looks to be still kind of alive in shock.
That's why I didn't originally list her as just dead, because I'm like, I think she might be alive. She's just on the way to death.
Yeah, I think she's bleeding to death, but this little girl's like in shock that her grandma just ripped her fucking limbs off.
It's either she's in shock or she's a really bad actress trying to play dead. She could just be awful. We don't know.
She probably is. There's probably the second one there. I've already said enough bad things about this child.
They said, okay, in the next scene, you're sitting there, but you're dead. And then they're like, man, it's good enough.
This is, I'll have similar things about the girl in Hereditary. Let's just put it like that. It's, but that's a whole nother level. Anyway, yeah. The girl, it looks to still be alive in shock with her grandma, like, at her side while she's in shock, having her limbs ripped off. Like, it's just so fucking gnarly.
And then watching a fucking, like, labradoodle eat her fucking flesh.
Yeah, I loved it. It was great.
I will say, again, this movie is not good.
No.
But you gotta give it to him for having the balls to show some shit like this.
Yeah, no, they went for it.
They did.
They did.
Full send.
They go for it. This was the Damien Leone before Damien Leone.
I would love to see him remake this movie.
Yeah.
If I get a chance, which I think I will in November, I'm gonna say, hey dude, you should cover Rabid Grannies. You should do a remake.
Yeah.
I will tell him that in person, 100%. All right, so Helen, who is now in shock, then looks up where she sees evil Victoria laughing while she swings from a chandelier above. And as the 2 elderly demons taunt her, Helen makes her way back down, where her and Rachel head back to the room. I did really enjoy the part where Helen runs into the room and hugs her son, and then she looks over and her actual son is standing there looking at her like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
That's great. So yeah, she then notices that she is holding this little demon child, which also comes out of nowhere. No idea how the fuck this works. Which causes her to freak out when suddenly this demon kid slices off a bunch of her fingers and then starts eating them.
Yeah, her kids are assholes.
This fucking movie is going balls to the wall right now. So, after that, Rachel then grabs up the actual little boy and Helen, dragging them to safety, where we then see them run into this, it's kind of like I guess I'd call it like a micro church. It's a church, but it's like located inside of this mansion. It's pretty much just a room. How fucking loaded do you have to be to have your own church in your house?
Pretty fucking loaded.
That's rich.
That's rich.
You don't even have to leave.
This is like the inside of it's like a church.
Yeah.
Like it's like an actual church in there.
By the way, if I was Rachel, I would be really concerned that Helen was becoming or is possibly possessed by the way she is acting right now. Like, Rachel is trying to get into this church. They got these 2 fucking rabid grannies on their tail, and Helen is just staring off into space like she just took a big old hit of acid or something.
Yeah, I would kill her. After seeing what I've already seen, just to be safe. I mean, she's not part of the family.
Yeah. To top it off, too, once they get inside this little church, Rachel is like protecting and comforting this little boy while Helen is over there playing with goddamn candles and
Yeah.
laughing. I'd be like, oh, because my first thought is like, this is similar to Evil Dead, where you see them, they start getting possessed one
Turned
by
into a
one,
deadite.
and they start laughing and being all fucking weird, and I'd be like, oh, you're gonna be a deadite in a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But how do you kill her in front of her son?
Is it really her son? We've already seen there's a couple of these little look-alike fuckers running around. So while Rachel, Helen, and this little boy are hiding out in this church, we hear the 2 evil granny bitches basically talking shit through the door, where we then hear them bring John over and tell them that if they don't open the door right now, they're going to kill John in this horrible, gruesome way. Truth be told, I'm not really sure what the fuck they said about killing him because their accents are so thick and like really strong. It's hard for me to understand what they're saying like half the time. I don't know if you had that problem. But I was like, what the fuck did you just say?
A bunch of times. I
Yeah.
had to rewind a couple spots. 'Cause
Very,
I was
very
like,
thick.
what's going on here?
So the whole time we hear them telling Rachel this, we hear John in the background begging for his life, which I personally think John's a big old piece of shit. But if I was in his shoes, I would be crying like this too. They just ripped a child's legs off and ate them. They're pretty fucking hardcore. I would be very afraid of what they were about to do.
Well, 2 things. For one, we know that this ends up not being John. But the big thing here to keep in mind about John that it took me about half the movie to catch on to is this is not his family.
Yeah,
This
he's
is his
married
wife's
into
family. He didn't want to even come to this fucking thing. Like, he thinks this money thing is not worth dealing with the
Yeah.
bullshit.
He's like, I'm not a Remington. Yeah, so this stuff and the like super rich fucking estate, this is why I kind of combined the Evil Dead with Ready or Not. This is
Yeah.
all very Ready or Not because we've seen a very similar thing happen in Ready or Not where the family members who were married in really didn't give a fuck about playing the game or hunting Grace down or any of that stuff. They were just like, I'm going to go fucking hang out in the bathroom and watch YouTube. Yeah. So very similar. It's like those 2 movies combined. So after Rachel basically says, fuck no, I am not opening the door, we then hear them start to torture John on the other side. And after a few minutes of this, Rachel just can't take it anymore as we then see her get up, grab a crucifix off the wall, and open the door like a dumbass. And this is where it is revealed that the 2 rabid grannies never had John in the first place and it was all a trick. And as Rachel goes to run back in the room, we see Elizabeth jump up and attack her, prompting the little boy to throw holy water in her face, where she immediately responds by laughing at him and basically telling him he is a dumbass.
I absolutely fucking love that he splashes the holy water in her face and it does nothing.
Yeah, she's like,
And
that only
she's
works
like,
in movies.
yeah. I love that they put that in there.
Yep.
Because you totally expect it to like hurt her.
Yeah, like
or like burn her or something. And she just laughs and she's like, you're a stupid fucking kid.
So, as she taunts him, we see a fed-up Rachel blast Elizabeth in the eye with the crucifix, where we get a nice, thick stream of blood, buying Rachel just enough time to slam the door shut. So after that, we then jump on over to John and Percival, who are still hiding out in the same room that they've been in for half the goddamn movie now.
It's the Cowardly Lions.
They were in this room for a lot of this movie.
I gotta say, Percival's fucking Lord Farquaad haircut
Oh,
is
it's
just by
terrible.
this point in the movie, it is bothering me so much. It is probably the most horrifying part of the movie.
It's awful. It's one of the worst haircuts I've ever seen in my life.
It's like Lord Farquaad, but shorter. He's like, I want the number one Lord Farquaad.
Yeah. It's kind of like the hair on some of the minifigs, the Legos.
Yeah, it's awful.
Yeah, so they're in this room, and we see here that John has finally decided to leave the room to go look for his family, which I say, good for him. About fucking time you grow some balls. But then we find out from Percival that it's been like an hour and a half since Helen and the little boy left, and I'm like, dude, they're like certainly dead by this point.
Yeah.
An hour and a half it took you to go look for your wife and kid?
Yeah, well, he sucked. Look, he does. He
It's
sucks.
pretty simple.
But I will give him credit. By this point, he seems to have come to the realization that his wife and kids are probably dead.
Mhm.
And he literally is like, I'm not even scared anymore because if they're dead, I have nothing to live for. And props to him for at least showing that he cares about his wife and kids.
Yeah, because I really expected him to go the route of like, good, less people I gotta split the money with.
Well, but I mean, yeah, I guess he is married to her, but they could easily change that out of the will because him being married to her doesn't leave him access to her part if they change the will, which I'm sure they would.
So after that, we then jump on over to Fred, Harvey, and Bertha, where we see that the stress of the situation has finally started causing them to unravel as we begin to see them argue. But this is quickly interrupted by John banging on the door, asking to be let in, to which they do. So now that Fred, Harvey, Bertha, and John are all together, Harvey points out that they need to go look for the others and then escape the estate, to which they all agree. We then see Harvey tell John and Bertha to head to the kitchen to see if any of the help is still alive, while him and Fred check out the basement for a way out. So next, we then follow John and Bertha into the kitchen where they immediately find the loudmouth cook lady, which, in my opinion, this lady totally gives off school cafeteria lady vibes to me.
Yeah, she's awful.
Yeah. But yeah, they find her face down in a big pot of boiling water, and when Bertha moves her, we see that her whole face has been burnt off, which looks good.
It's funny, right before they cut the light on, she mentions it kind of smells like barbecue.
I couldn't understand her.
Yeah, no, she doesn't say barbecue, but she said it smells like pig cooking.
Yeah.
And I actually seen like a Reddit, like somebody, it was like a post where they were, I don't know if it was like an AMA or something, but a guy worked at a cremation place, and he actually said that
it makes him hungry every day.
He said
counting the minutes till lunch.
At a certain part early in the cremation process, it literally would smell like barbecue. When he first started working there, I think he was doing some work for the building, and he was like, "What the fuck? Why does it smell like barbecue?" And then he found out it was early on in the cremation process. When the body was, he even says it in the post. He's like, technically, as fucked up as it sounds, when you're cremated, at one point, your body is perfectly cooked.
Yeah. So there is some good news here, though. Radu, the butler, is still alive, but obviously very emotionally scarred at this point, which, he should totally get a pass out of this bullshit situation considering he is not a part of this family. He is a working man just trying to get his hours. John Kramer would say he's very respectable profession. Shout out to our Saw It. Damn, that was like season 1.
He's a butler. I wouldn't even put him in the same.
But he cleans too.
Yeah, but he's a butler. Like he is such a dedicated butler that he hates the rest of the family because he's so loyal to these old bitches that cut his paycheck. He literally talks shit in the whole beginning of the movie about how they all come there to try to get their hands on them.
Well, he's not wrong.
No, he's not. If I fucking was a butler and I had to see that shit for years too, I would be like, fuck this dinner.
A butler is just a janitor for rich people and their houses.
Yeah,
Kinda
but
the
they
same
do a
thing.
little bit more than Janet.
So it's more respectable.
It's just,
According to John Kramer.
I will say that a butler is more of a respectable profession, and I think John Kramer would agree.
So after that, we then jump down to the basement where Harvey and Fred are still looking for a way out when they pretty quickly find this small, it's like kind of like a laundry chute looking thing that leads outside. Fred is immediately like, let's get the fuck out of here. But Harvey's like, no, we can't just leave the others. Plus, you're too fucking fat to fit through there.
Yeah.
It's just hilarious.
Yeah, and that's another thing I said I like Harvey the most
Yeah,
out of
he's-
every I think every other of the family members would have been like, well, let's leave everybody else here. That's less that's what we want anyway.
All but Rachel, but she's not a family
like
member.
literally everybody if everybody dies, then I'm the only one left to get the money. But no, Harvey's like, no, we can't just leave them here. He has a easy chance to escape, and he doesn't take it because he wants to save his family. So obviously, warlording's doing really well for him.
Well, he's he's looking at the political environment, and he's sensing World War III's on the way. He's gonna get paid.
It's the Cold War,
Yeah.
man. It's hype.
So, yeah, he's like, you're too fucking fat to get through there anyway. And this sends Fred into a rage where he basically tells Harvey to fuck off and he is leaving right now. To which Harvey is like, whatever, your fat ass is going to get stuck in there anyway. Which is exactly what happens a mere 3 seconds later. So Fred's dumbass immediately starts yelling for Harvey to come back and help him, which alerts Victoria and Elizabeth, who are still upstairs, where we then see them immediately head for the basement. So while Harvey attempts to pull Fred's fat ass out, he suddenly hears the rabid, bloodthirsty grannies heading down the steps, where he quickly abandons Fred, pretty much leaving him for dead as he runs over to the corner and hides behind a barrel. And as Victoria and Elizabeth step into the basement, what is the first thing that they see? Fred's fat, stubby legs just dangling out of this small hole in the wall, and they are looking at him like a motherfucking buffet. So they walk over, they cut his pants leg open, and literally start eating his ass. And not in the good way.
Yeah.
This
They eat the absolute shit out of his ass.
This is one of the best scenes in the whole movie because we see them actually take their time eating his ass. Like, we see them literally rip chunks of his flesh out, peel the skin off, and lick it clean. And the best part is, we actually watch one of them rip his fucking leg off and use their long fingernails to cut like the ligaments and muscles and shit. It's
Yeah.
fucking awesome.
It is a pretty incredible scene.
It is long and it's
Generally,
detailed.
the ass-eating scenes are the best scenes, but this is a different kind of movie,
Different kind
and
of ass.
it still holds up in this movie too.
Yeah, I love this scene, man.
It gets gruesome,
Yeah,
man, like
some more
gruesome.
Art the Clown type shit.
And for the time,
Yeah.
like for the time that this movie came out, the effect work that was done on it, like this particular scene, like there's some awesome stuff throughout this movie, but this particular scene is, I mean, it just essentially turns into them. They start with eating his ass and end up just eating and ripping his entire body in half. And it's fucking gruesome.
Yeah, this is, in my opinion, creme de la creme, gold star fucking effects.
Yeah.
So after Fred dies by getting his salad tossed, we see Victoria and Elizabeth's faces and hands just covered in blood and guts, where we then jump over to Harvey, who is still hiding just a few feet away, and he is puking his guts out at the sight of this, which I don't blame him. Once he finishes regurgitating his dinner, we then see him stand up, defiantly look right into the two rabid grannies, and say, "It's just too goddamn much," which I find hilarious for some reason. I don't know why, but it's just like, you fucking demons and how everything is like a spectacle with you guys, and you've just went too goddamn far.
Had enough.
Yeah.
That was taking it too far.
Yep. He then basically tells them that he has had it, he is sick of their shit, and he is going to kill them. And right as they start heading for him, he takes off running out of the basement, where he magically arrives at his car in the driveway, where, remember, he's got 2 new weapons of war stashed away.
What the fuck?
How the fuck did he get outside?
Well, the whole, like,
That's the
How do
whole
I
reason they
answer-
went into the basement.
Yes, that is the very reason that Fred mentions them leaving, and Harvey's like, "Don't you remember when what's his name, the younger one, the youngest
Roger?
one?" Yeah, he's like, "Don't you remember when everybody took off running? Roger tried to run out the front door, and it closed on him. Like, we can't just use the door; they have power over that. That's why they go in the basement." And Harvey is the one who says this. And then I guess the writers got lazy and just skipped to him being outside pulling guns out of his trunk.
Yeah, it didn't even show him running out of the house. He just opens his trunk. He's just there.
And I'm fucking Fred's dead. Just leave.
Yeah,
Just
leave.
get the fuck out of there.
So Harvey then grabs a shotgun out of the back of his car, where he then runs back inside and begins hunting Elizabeth and Victoria. And after running around wildly shooting random shit, he finally runs upstairs, where he immediately encounters Elizabeth, who I enjoy that she does the finger guns at him.
Yeah.
It's kind of salt in the wound. So I guess the finger guns was the last straw for Harvey here,
That was like an Art the Clown move.
as he begins firing round after round into Elizabeth's stomach, where we see that it doesn't kill her, but it does cause blood to pour from her eyes and this neon green foam to like seep from her mouth.
Well, he blows her whole fucking stomach open. I mean, it's a magic shotgun in the movie.
Yeah, it's unlimited ammo.
Yeah, so he shoots her like fucking 10, 12 times with a 12 gauge. She's pretty fucked up, and she thinks it's hilarious. And
Yeah,
at that point, if I was Harvey, I'd be like, okay, I tried. I'm going back to my car now.
I'm going to magically reappear back at my car and drive away. Just
Outta here.
magically reappear at the police station.
Yeah.
Problem solved. So she starts pulling out her own guts as she hysterically laughs at him, causing Harvey to get more and more angry, when he then uses the shotgun to knock her down the stairs. It's such an old lady thing. He just barely hits her and she just falls. Oh, my hip. My demon hip is broken. Oh, yeah. So, and just as he goes to breathe a sigh of relief, he hears a loud noise coming down the hallway. And when he turns to look, he spots Victoria dressed in a goddamn suit of armor,
Yes.
which I was like, you've got to be fucking kidding me.
A suit of armor that repels 12 gauges.
This bitch went and found a whole ass suit of armor.
Well, they probably have like 15 of them in the hallways of
These-
this fucking mansion that they own.
These people are loaded. So,
I just feel like the Rabid Grannies were just like, it'd be funny. It would really piss him off if I just put on this suit of armor.
he's going to put on the suit of armor and really, really fuck his day up. He should just magically appear inside the suit of armor with her and shoot her.
I'm surprised he didn't magically appear at the police station and be like, you guys need to buy some more guns.
Yeah,
for
for me.
this." Yeah, for me. I got some guns I can sell you that's going to really help you take these demon grannies down.
Unlimited ammo guns
Yeah.
at that. So Harvey, who somehow 50 rounds later, has still not run out of ammo. Then raises the shotgun and begins firing, but unfortunately for him, it does no good against the suit of armor, where we... I never thought I'd say that. Where we then see Victoria walk over and casually chop off his arm using a fucking medieval axe. Before Harvey gets a chance to react, she then uses the axe to chop off both of his legs, and while he is laying useless on the floor, she then stabs him in the dick, lifts him into the air, and throws him down the steps like a ball of dirty laundry.
She literally turned him into a potato.
Yep.
And then castrated him.
Yep.
And threw him down a flight of steps.
And obviously,
I don't think Harv deserved that, man.
It was.
I don't think he deserved that.
Whatever prop they used,
R.I.P. Harv.
Whatever prop they used to throw him down the steps, I think it was just a bunch of balled up clothes.
Yes. Well, we only see the shadow of it, and I'm pretty sure you're right. I think they just took like a sleeping bag and put a bunch of clothes in it and just tossed it.
Well, you see the wind kind of catch it a little bit. It doesn't just plummet like something heavy.
Well, maybe he wasn't heavy because now he's just a potato.
He's just a torso.
He's just a
gonna be
and a head.
He's going to be on 13 Ghosts, the sequel. Now, obviously, with all of the shooting and the yelling and the dick stabbing, this can be heard throughout the whole house, which causes John, Bertha, and Radu to come running out to see just what the hell is going on. And they stand there in shock as they watch Harvey die from not having a dick anymore.
It wasn't the arms or the legs.
It was the dick. You cut a man's dick off, he's lost the will to live. 100%.
He makes his living on guns, and you cut his personal gun off.
It's like in Star Wars when Padme's dying, and they're like, well, what's wrong with her? And the robot doctor's like, she just lost the will to live. So after this, we then start to see Radu have a mental breakdown, and as he walks towards the window crying, we see Elizabeth just casually sit up and throw a chunk of her liver or something in front of him, where he then slips on it, causing him to fall out of the window and die.
Yeah. What a way to pay back your butler for all those years of service.
The fact that he died slipping on a piece of liver is silly.
It was definitely a silly kill.
Yeah. I know that you thought that lime green slime shit though coming from her mouth looked awesome.
Yeah.
It looked.
They used that a couple times in the movie.
But this, for some reason, this scene, it like is neon green. Like it looks
toxic waste.
It looks like that fucking
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2.
Yeah, it looks like the Nickelodeon fucking, what they call it, gack or something.
It's slime?
Gack, something like that. It looks like that. So after that, we then see Father Percival slowly walking through the hallway while obviously shitting his pants, when suddenly he comes face to face with Victoria, who is still wearing the suit of armor. And as he tries to turn and run away, he is immediately confronted by Elizabeth, who is now holding a fucking full auto AR-15.
Pretty sure this was an M16.
So, as I've said before, this movie's stupid in a lot of ways. But another thing I got to give them credit for is I have never seen a demon walk around with a fucking assault rifle before. It's got to be a first.
Or a suit of armor.
Or that. So anyway, now that they've got Percival cornered and he can't go anywhere, Elizabeth tells him that he can take the easy way out by just shooting himself with this gun, or they can torture him to death. It is his choice.
I love how they talk shit about how he's like a puss his whole life, and he's such a fucking wimp. And the one's like just talking shit to him, like your
haircut's stupid.
Been a fucking puss your whole life. Like, are you gonna take the easy way out and burn in hell to avoid being tortured to death. And it's just one of the I think one of the best kills of the movie.
I'm sure she said, I couldn't understand everything she said because of her accent, but I'm sure she's like, you should kill yourself for picking that haircut.
Yeah. Yeah, the haircut's fucking awful. I wish they would have shown, like, since they went so heavy into the effects, just a giant hole being blown out the back of his head. Just blow that whole haircut out.
So he then begins to cry as he places the gun barrel to his lips and then proceeds to full auto fire into his head, blowing his brains all over the wall.
What makes this scene awesome, though, is the grannies are, one of them is telling him to kill himself. Like, you're a puss, just kill yourself. You know you don't want to deal with being tortured. And the other one's like, no, you're a priest. Like, you can't kill yourself and spend eternity being tortured in hell to avoid being tortured and what we're going to do to you. And it's like, they're banking against each other.
Good
like,
cop, bad cop.
And then when he shoots himself, the other granny says, I won. And it just makes the scene just so great.
Goddamn rabid grannies and their antics. So after that, we then jump on over to John and Bertha, where we see John now has the old wooden box from the dinner table, and he explains to Bertha that they need to destroy it, and hopefully that will put a stop to the rabid grannies, which is a sentence I never in my life thought I would say.
I can't believe John's still around.
He's made it.
He was the second biggest puss of the movie behind.
Well, he spent half the movie hiding in the room.
Percival the priest, who just blew his brains out.
So they then decide to take the box to the chapel and destroy it, but on the way there, the whole house starts to shake as the doors start to slam repeatedly. And after realizing that the rabid grannies are hot on their trail, John gives the box to Bertha, tells her to take it to the chapel as he attempts to slow them down. And right as Bertha takes off towards the chapel with the box, we see Victoria and Elizabeth come up behind John, where Victoria grabs his chest, slamming his body backwards, essentially snapping his back and folding him over like a fucking beach chair.
Bro, did you see when they're on the way with that box and they come up on Percival's body?
Oh, yeah.
His like back two molars stuck to his gums, hanging off the piece of bloody flesh that's literally hanging off of the front sight of the M16.
I didn't notice the teeth. I noticed the big like slime of like brains or whatever. Yeah.
So it was like just this slime of flesh that's it's hanging off the front sight post of the M16. But literally, they took the time to add a little piece of his gum and his back two molars at the end of it, sticking to it. And it's fucking awesome.
Gold star effects, man. We then jump on over to Rachel, who is suddenly startled when Bertha begins banging on the chapel door, begging to be let in. And of course, considering what happened last time, she is reluctant to believe it's really her and not another trick by the rabid grannies. But after a few minutes of this, Rachel finally decides to let Bertha in, which we then see was just in the nick of time, because as soon as the door slams shut, we see them begin to scratch and tear at the chapel door with their long demon claws. Bertha then grabs a heavy wooden crucifix and begins using it like a hammer to destroy the evil box, which seems to be working because as the box begins to break apart, we see two things happen. One, the box begins to smoke like our grandfather, which is a lot.
A whole lot.
A lot.
It's Marlboro Reds, to be exact.
Pack a day. And number two, evil Victoria, who has now kind of halfway broken through this door, begins to like kind of melt, I guess. And
something's weird. Their fucking head starts like expanding and contracting and all types of weird shit.
And after Bertha's final blow to the box, They then look over at Victoria where they see her head. I don't know how to exactly describe it. It basically looks like there's something under her skin and it's like trying to get out.
Yeah.
It's very Nightmare on Elm Street
I
looking.
thought it kind of looked like the head was was expanding and contracting, but just in certain spots of the skull.
I would love to know how they did it.
Like they built the effect. They had certain spots
Or something
that had like
pushed up.
straws ran
Yeah.
through it, and they were blowing and sucking through certain straws that probably had like 3 or 4 different people working it. Because it's done so well, it almost looks like CGI. It tricks your brain, but they obviously didn't have CGI then to do this. But yeah, it was really, really weird looking. And I gotta say, man, the toughest thing in this movie is gotta be that crucifix.
Crucifix is the boss. Yeah.
Yeah, they really, really made that out of some good wood.
Yeah, I would say with some of these effects, man, they were really swinging for the fences. Like a lot of this is some really ambitious shit for such a small budget movie. And there's a couple scenes that really stick out to me, like when he gets his salad tossed and he dies. But another one is this scene with the head, because that could have went wrong, that could have looked bad, but it looked good. Actually looked good.
Yeah, and too bad Harv's wood was not as strong as that crucifix's wood.
But yeah, her head starts to like move around and it eventually splits open and we start to see blood and slime pour out of her mouth. And then she passes out and magically turns back into regular human Victoria. Just like that.
No wounds, nothing.
Nope. It's very similar to how that guy got out to his car. He just
Harv just
disappeared there. Yeah. So we then jump to the morning where we see it is a brand new, beautiful day. The police, fire department, and coroner have all arrived, where we see a detective taking Victoria and Elizabeth's statement. I don't know if you caught it, but Victoria was bitching at the cop, and she says, like, she's pissed and heads will roll over this. You killed everybody.
Yeah, I agree. It's funny how her rich ass is like, heads are gonna fucking roll.
Yeah. We also see that the paramedics had to put Helen in a straitjacket and basically drag her out to the ambulance, which tells me that she's probably going straight to the loony bin. We then cut over to Rachel and the little boy, who I never even bothered to learn his name. And we see that they are sitting on the edge of the pond watching all of this shit go down. When suddenly he asks her if his mommy will be okay. The answer is no. She is fucking toast. She's about to be playing a whole lot of checkers with some guy who doesn't speak and just drools on himself.
This is a power move on Rachel, though, because
get into the family without Scissor and an old lady.
Aunt Scissor is dead.
Yeah,
Roger's dead.
Yeah.
Now she's gonna take care of this little boy. She was never married to Aunt Scissor, so she has no claim to the fortune. Her 2 tickets to the fortune are now gone, which was the only reason she was with Aunt Scissor in the first place. Now she's gonna raise this boy who's gonna inherit a massive amount now that most of the family's dead.
Yeah, it's true. So she then looks down at the boy and says, well, if your mom and the police agree, you can come stay with me for a while. To which he is immediately like, fuck yeah. His attitude completely changed here. He went from being like super sad to fuck those people, I'm going to go live with this hot lesbian. I also noticed here, she's letting him drink a cup of coffee.
Well,
it's like fucking 7-year-old kids drinking a fucking cup of coffee.
His dad got literally bent in half and to death, and his mom is now psycho.
Could you imagine the fucking chaos that would occur if you let like your oldest have a cup of coffee?
God, no. She's literally acts like she drinks 7 cups of coffee a day already. Now I could only imagine.
So after all that, we then cut to Bertha, who is riding in the back of a taxi headed towards town. And we see here that Bertha is being kind of a bitch to the driver. He then attempts to spark up some just general conversation, but when he looks back, he sees Bertha's eyes bulging as she pukes up neon green slime from her mouth. And before he can even say anything, she leaps forward, attacking him, where we then hear him scream as his severed arm flies out the window. Because remember, when Bertha was destroying the box, it started smoking, and she was like breathing all that evil vape smoke right into her body.
Those Marlboro Reds.
So now she's fucking rabid.
She got secondhand rabid smoke.
That's the sequel is going to be called Rabid Widow.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So that means that the only person left to leave the fortune to is the little boy. He's
And-
the only
yep.
one who made it.
Yep.
And guess who's raising him?
The
Rachel.
hot girl.
Yeah.
The extremely hot
She's
girl.
going to end up with all the money.
Yeah, and that is unfortunately the end of Rabid Motherfucking Grannies. We finally made it through. I finally got to do it. We have accomplished much here.
The grannies are rabid.
As you could imagine, there's no facts for this movie. So, ratings and kill count. We have a total of 12 kills. We have Erica, who was dragged across the table and had her head ripped off. Roger, whose face was slammed into the dash. The young maid, who was thrown out of a window. Jessica, who might be somebody's wife, was crushed by a gate. Susie was basically mutilated and bled to death, I think. The lunch lady, who had her face melted off. Fred had his ass eaten. Harvey had his arms, legs, and dick cut off. Radu slipped on a liver and fell into a window. Percival shot himself in the head. John had his body snapped backwards. And finally, the taxi driver, who was torn apart by Bertha. All right, so it is time for favorite kills. My favorite kill was Fred, the ass eating scene. It was glorious. Glorious special effects. My second, this was hard, but I ended up going with Erica because I wasn't expecting it. It was like the first legitimate kill of the movie, and it was fucking bloody and gory and awesome.
Okay, so I also went with Fred.
Good choice.
When you get your fucking salad tossed to death, it was just brutal.
Well, they
you
literally
have to see it.
they
That's what I
literally-
gotta, it's like it's hard to explain how in depth the gore went in that.
Oh yeah, I couldn't
Like,
describe it.
It literally starts out them like biting chunks out of his ass, and like she's like licking the blood off of like the skin that ripped off, and it turns into his leg being ripped off, and then his entire lower half just being stretched and ripped from his body.
It's like when people eat chicken.
Yeah, it was savage.
Yeah.
No doubt. Easy for me to put that as the number one. Now, the number two, I went with little ugly ass Susie.
That was a good
Because
one.
although we did not actually see her death, we do see the aftermath of a 8-year-old little girl having her limbs ripped off, her leg thrown at her mom, and then a dog chewing on the other as she is laying in shock dying. And holy fucking shit, to go there in a movie we don't get to see that very often. And as a lover of just practical effects and gore in movies, I thought it was fantastic. Never be afraid to kill kids in movies.
I did want to bring up, man, like how big of a deal something like that was back then, because you remember last year we were watching interviews where Damien Leone was talking about the fucking scene where he blows up all the kids and how big of a deal that was.
Yeah.
This is fucking 1988.
And, I gotta say it depends on the movie a lot because I thought it was great in Terrifier, and I thought it was fantastic in this. But then when I just made that comment, never be afraid to kill kids in movies, the first thought that came to my head was the Pet Cemetery. And that one
Oh,
really
yeah,
fucking bothered me a lot
that one's
because that's
sad and realistic, though.
yeah, that's a sad, realistic, it's happened to people, like,
Yeah.
it's a real thing that happens, like, no little girls have gotten their legs eaten off by rabid grannies, I hope.
I hope.
I hope no clown has blown up a bunch of kids at
There's
Christmas.
gonna be somebody in the comments that's like, "Well, actually."
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess it depends on the context of me saying that because it can be and I don't shy away in Pet Sematary of them having that scene because I think it's extremely impactful,
It adds
and I think
depth. Yeah.
those are the most important parts in a movie
It makes that
that's
story.
yeah, that's serious like that is when a filmmaker like, we've talked about this with the, like, The Last House on the Left or I
Mhm.
Spit on Your Grave, like, those are really hard movies to sit and watch because of the content, but the fact that a filmmaker is making you really feel something takes it to a whole 'nother level. So that definitely depends on context, but in this context, in this particular movie, I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, with Pet Sematary, man, to put yourself in Stephen King's shoes, you have to think, what could be so major that would make someone essentially use some kinda ancient witchcraft to bring their family member back from the dead, but they kinda be evil now?
Well, to
And
to
and
even to even go as far as to dig your child's body up and bury it.
Well, it has to
Semi
be a
like
child
like
because you wouldn't, most likely dig your wife up or,
yeah.
your mom or, it would have to be something as sacred as a child to even do those things that are in that movie.
And even in the traumatic way that it happens and them seeing it
Yeah.
happen, it just makes it so bad that you would lead to somebody being in the mental place to do something like that.
Yeah, if that happened to me, I'd probably jump off a fucking bridge.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean that's the one thing that could push a character realistically to do the things that he does in that movie.
to do something that you know is not right.
Yeah, so I think it's very appropriate for that movie, but this is something completely different. All right, so rating. I had a very hard time rating this movie because, again, for like the fifth time, it's not a good movie. But the fucking like demons running around in granny dresses is gold, and the effects are amazing. And I ended up landing at a 3.5. I had to split the difference.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
What you gave, like, Vacancy. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
the effects in this movie are fucking great, and I love the grannies. You should have known I was gonna rate it high. I fucking picked it.
Yeah, but you didn't pick it off of it being a great
No,
movie.
it's a bad movie. I would never, like, recommend, like, "This is a good movie, you should go watch it." If I know you're into effects, I would recommend you watch this movie. I love effects, I think that's great, and I love how fucking cheesy some of the movie is, but yeah, I rated it way too high.
Yeah, I gave it a much more realistic rating of a whole 2.
Okay. I don't have an issue with that. I could totally I even at one point rated it a 2. Like, I went through, like, probably 10 different ratings
I
in
gave it a
about 30
1
minutes.
I gave it a 1 at first.
I mean, as a movie, it's a 2,
As a movie, I give it a 1.5.
but I always rate movies on how much fun I had, if it's a fun movie, and I had a lot of fun after the first 20 minutes.
As a movie, I give it a 1.5.
I'm glad I own it.
I gave it a 2 because of the places that they went that most movies wouldn't go to,
I think,
like with the little girl, and I gave it anything at all because of the effects. Like, this movie's
oh,
like
my
this
whole rating's
I give it
effects.
like, movie-wise, like, if you took the effects out, like, a lot of versions of it out there, like, it gets to point 1 for them working the camera, and that's about it. So everything's effect-wise. I had it at a 1.5. I bumped it up to a 2 for the places that they were willing to go. I couldn't give it a 2.5, mainly just based off of how long it gets to get going. Like, if the whole movie was Rabid Grannies, but it does take a minute to get going.
Yeah. I'm officially changing it to a 3. I'm going to settle on a 3. It's a 3 for me.
That's more respectable.
Yep. Oh, you already did your rating, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Really not much
If you
to
want
it,
an
no.
explanation, absolutely awful and great at the same time.
Yep. Definitely go pick up the Vinegar Syndrome. It's worth it. There's actually a ton of extras I didn't have time to watch. I didn't know it was going to have a bunch of extras with it, so I was really surprised. So there's some other stuff that I haven't seen yet.
Yeah, if you're looking for a serious movie, don't watch this.
No.
But if you're looking for a serious movie, you're probably not going to put in a movie called Rabid Grannies and expect anything serious. But if you're sitting down with somebody and you want to have a good time and laugh at a movie and get to see some cool practical effects, yeah.
Fast forward 20 minutes and then start the movie.
Yeah, and definitely get the Vinegar Syndrome copy of it, because watching this movie without the effects would have been like getting a root canal.
Would have been. When I originally went to cover it like a year ago, we would have ended up watching the other version, and I would have been highly disappointed.
I honestly probably would have been like, hey, we need to just put this episode off and just put something else out for it.
Well, that is our thoughts on Rabid Grannies. Once again, we thank you guys for listening. Please give us a follow or like. If you enjoy the show, check out the website, check out the socials, check out the store. Get you a Grindhouse t-shirt. Tell a friend, a family member, or your Rabid Grannies about the show. And we hope to see you next time.